Hi, I'm here with one of our award winners for the Ray Harris Curiosity Awards last year. This is Naomi Cher, and she is a teacher at Denver Language School. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I would love to, just at the beginning, I know it's just a part of what you do somewhat naturally as a teacher, but when you think of curiosity and its importance in the classroom, what are your thoughts?
So my favorite thing about teaching is that I get to access my creativity, and um, I've found that if you model creativity and you encourage it explicitly and you recognize it when you see it in the kids, it brings out a lot more buy-in from the kids, and they feel more ownership over what they've learned, and they're more likely to put in effort when it gets harder. And if you need to have them do something that is less interesting but necessary,
Yeah.
they're more likely to go along with you with that if they know that if you have some credibility with recognizing when they're creative and modeling creativity.
Yeah. Well, and we also sometimes folks interchange the words creativity and curiosity, but with curiosity as well, just kind of piquing their interest. What are the things you do to, tap into that natural curiosity and interest?
So I do a lot of unusual things in my class. I dress up as the apostrophe when we do apostrophes, and we do the Olympics, where we each day of that week the kids are divided into teams and they compete in games that involve throwing and gaga and running around that kind of get that buy-in from everybody, especially the kids who are normally too fidgety to really focus. So, and I also do board games once a week. So I make grammar board games,
If I can make sure it's, there we go.
which are a much more low-stakes version of a worksheet.
Yeah.
Because with grammar, the kids need that practice, that repetitive practice, and they hate it. Understandably, I think, because I write my own grammar worksheets, so I can make them fun, but for the most part, they don't want to do a worksheet.
Right.
So we play board games that I make, so they all work a little differently. And on each of them, in order to move your piece forward, you have to answer questions about grammar or, find the error in this sentence. And if they get it right, they can move forward. If not, then they don't move forward. And we do that once a week so that without realizing it, they're getting that repetition and that reinforcement painlessly.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is triple play, and this one is happy holidays. They're all a little different, but the kids get to do that with each other. And since the cards have the answers on them, they can check each other's work without me having to come over and say, "Yep, that's right," which they also really like.
I was going to say a bit more low stakes, right? As
Yes.
far as it's okay if you don't know the answer. Here's
Exactly.
the answer.
Yep, and you don't have the whole class looking on while you are struggling with
Figuring
it.
it out. Yeah.
Yep. I also have alternative cards for my ELD students or MLE students who are not able to answer the grammar questions, so they do either vocabulary that they're working on or structured language practice, like we would do in my MLE class, so that they get to participate too. I even have a game that was made last year by a student who is an MLE student in my English class, and so we found time to kind of bond over making a board game together, and she got to use it in her class.
Awesome.
So the other thing that I do to explicitly encourage creativity and curiosity, we start every day with this pledge. So this is the Creative Problem Solver Pledge, and it's call and response. So if you want to do I can do the leader part,
Sure.
you can do the student part. So we begin every day by reminding ourselves who we are and who we can be. Who are we?
We are creative problem solvers.
Do creative problem solvers give up?
We do not.
What if it's too hard?
We get creative.
What if we fail?
We get creative.
What if it's impossible?
We get creative.
How do we do that?
Ask the 4 questions. What do I want? What are my resources? What are my strengths? And what am I waiting for?
Do we wait for someone else to change the world for us?
No.
Good. Do you have the power to change your life?
Yes.
Do you believe in yourself?
Yes.
Why?
Because I'm a creative problem solver and the world is mine to change.
So we start every day with that, and over the course of the year, I start hearing kids like telling me, "Oh, I was a creative problem solver when we did that," or, I there's no chair at my seat. What do I do? And another kid will go, be a creative problem solver, dude. Come on. And, what are your resources? And they'll look around and find a chair. And by the end of the year, they all know this, but by the end of the semester, they all know it by heart. And they start using it to kind of recognize each other when they're when they're solving problems creatively rather than waiting for an adult to come and fix it.
And so if you're trying to, your method for piquing curiosity, maybe when especially maybe when it's something it's not inherently like, ooh, fascinating.
Yeah.
Is to play
Most
games.
people don't get excited about sentence structures, so
a couple people do, but not very many.
I know. Oh, I totally do. But mostly because I like the challenge of finding ways to access that childlike part of their, of themselves that wants to compete, wants to demonstrate that they are, that they're capable, and also that just wants to know what's going to happen next. So that's sort of how I foster the creativity and the curiosity in my students.
I remember, and then we didn't get it fully recorded. The recording was a little shoddy or shady when we were doing it. There was a jingle or two that you.
Oh yeah, we have a songbook. So I use songs that I write. They're parodies of songs that the kids know. And some of them are set to Christmas carol music, so that right before winter break, we go around the school and we do our grammar carols. And they're mostly songs about how do you connect two clauses together, what's a run-on sentence. I think that's the one that I sang at the awards. Do you want me to?
Sure.
Let's see. So this is to a Hamilton song, and it's about run-on sentences. I think I remember all of it. They say a run-on is just a long sentence that goes on and on. It's not. Let's not oversimplify grammar rules. That would be wrong. Let's be clear. Your sentence can be just as long as you want it to be, but you have to make sure that all of your sentences clauses are connected. Link them up. Don't forget. Use a comma with a fanboy's word. If you don't, what you'll get is a run-on sentence, and that's bad. For and nor, but or yet so, or a semicolon must go between each independent clause, 'cause a run-on is two independent clauses that are joined up wrong. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
So we have a whole songbook. We just learned the homophone song because we started that yesterday. And it's just kind of, usually there's at least one group of kids at each year who writes their own song, and I'm always so excited when they do that.
You add it to the song.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yep, with their names.
I'm picturing teachers that might be watching this, and they're like, wow, that's amazing, and clearly she is, out of my league, right? She's got all this creativity, she's got all these new ideas. What would you say for anyone that, they're like, I don't know, I'm just kind of the teacher that does everything. How do they dip their toes in? What advice would you give?
Quote another crazy redheaded teacher and say, take chances, make mistakes, get messy. If you're willing to, creativity is a science experiment, and you just have to remember your kids will forgive you. If you try something a little wacky and it doesn't work perfectly, they'll forgive you. And they'll appreciate when you say, hey, that was a new idea. I don't know if that went so well. What do you guys think? And that's kind of how I came up with a lot of these things, that I would try some wacky idea on a class, and I'd tell them, you guys are guinea pigs here, so you got to tell me if this is working for you. And just take chances. Be prepared to make some mistakes, and it might get messy, but that's kind of how you learn. That's how you develop creative ideas and make sure that they actually work. Because there were a lot of different iterations of some of these activities that I've described that did not go well. And because I was open with my students and telling them, guys, I don't think this is really working. Let's, I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I'll get back to you on this. And they understood, and and so when it did go right, they really liked it. And when it didn't, they knew that I wasn't going to lie to them and pretend it wasn't, that it was going perfectly.
Well, and I think about the lessons of perseverance, also progress, not perfection,
Yes.
where so many of our kids, I think a lot of our teachers that work with gifted kids as well are, right, they're afraid to fail, which is the exact opposite of what we want
I
to be
can pick up
modeling
on
for our
that.
kids. Yeah.
Like, I model being human all the time, just kind of, if a class that is usually pretty cooperative is acting a little less cooperative than usual, I address it and I say, guys, this is kind of frustrating me. I don't know about you, but this is making me feel kind of stressed out right now because I'm seeing this and this. How are you feeling about this? And just if I present a wacky idea that isn't going over well, involve them in the process. Say, what do you think of this? Is this helping you understand this, or are you confused? Give me a fist to 5 to show how well you're understanding what I'm describing. And are you ready? And show me, are you ready to be tested on this? And they'll give you a fist to 5, and you can kind of go from there. But if you model that vulnerability, then they're willing to take more risks because they see that nobody chops your head off if things don't go right when you do them.
Right. I was just thinking of one or two last questions. What things are you, it could be school related, not school related, what things pique your curiosity? What things are you curious about, want to know more about?
I'm really loving teaching MLE. I've taught it in the past for students who were largely on the higher end of the kind of progress scale of mastering English. This year I have a whole class of newcomers, so I'm speaking a lot of Spanish. And I know that when I went to WIDA training a couple years ago, it totally revolutionized the way that I thought about teaching language. And it's I don't know if I could do a plug here for WIDA, but their training is fabulous, and I'm really enjoying that other way of thinking about language acquisition that is different from teaching native speakers how to speak better English. So this year I'm really enjoying that, and my Spanish is getting better.
Awesome. Awesome. Any last words of advice or anything that you'd share? Or maybe heroes, people within the field that, who's your mentor? Who are you, some of the people that you,
I'd say again, Miss Frizzle. She's just really
She's great.
the take chances, make mistakes.
Anyone who doesn't know who Miss Frizzle is,
but
Magic School Bus.
Yeah. But I just love how confident she is and how she kind of rolls with it when things don't go according to plan. That and obviously she's a cartoon and somebody had time to write and edit what she's going to say. But you kind of see a teacher just flawlessly rolling with it. And that's something that I aim for myself, that teaching is messy. And, my first period of the day is often the guinea pig. And I'll learn from how, wow, that did not go well. I need to actually have this part in writing so the kids can see it. And I'll try and get that done before the next class. But
those poor first classes, I know.
Yeah. And but
they get us fresh too, right? So.
Yeah. And it's an experiment. Teaching is a science experiment, and every year I get a little better at it. And that comforts me when things go completely off the rails, and I come home going, oh my God, that was a mess. That my classes are never going to respect me again. And then the next day, you try again, and you find the kids are very forgiving.
Thank you. Well, it was super exciting, and that was, you can't see him on camera right now, but Rick Nielsen, who is also, here, we'll just do a little move around the table, who let us know about you and your work, right? And that's part of the Curiosity Initiative, is to, let's start building more of this, these kind of teaching strategies and these classrooms that are going to just continue to foster and fuel curiosity. So, and we were excited to see you last year, and it's great to see you again today.
Thank you.
And we will shut this off. Thanks again.